Well, there are parades, and then there may be a parade to remember forever. Hour from now in New York, the Knicks championship parade's about to get underway. Our man Kelly Velez is in the middle of all of it. And Kelly, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm gonna try my best to keep my composure and to make sure that we can hear each other. But we're in the building, live and direct, New York City, Maiden and Broadway off of Champions Way, waiting for the champs to make their way down Broadway, Marky Mark.
Kelly, you sent me a picture like 6:20 this morning that looked like the streets are already crowded. I'm just watching online that they're not allowing people even in certain areas. So give me a scene set. When did you get there and describe the crowd?
So it started off initially, everybody understanding that you can't bring bags, you can't bring this, you can't even bring umbrellas. Very difficult to get in here. So to tell you the truth, Marky Mark and our listenership, I gave up. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be one of those people. People were lining up last night. I said, you know what? I'm going to come out here. Since we got here around 6 a.m. and just get the energy. Did not expect to get here. I was actually around one of the access points, was able to get in, and here we are officially right next to Broadway, waiting our good champs to come down here. But to your point, and you can attest to the footage, pandemonium, absolute sensational. Like, we're talking about millions of people, at least 2 million people descending on downtown New York, and it's absolute insanity.
Again, it's a bridge brought to you by Advent Health. Kelly Velez is in New York. Marc Daniels here in studio. CB's over there. Can anybody move? I mean, I saw a video of people that it's taking 30 minutes to get out of the subway just to get up the stairs to get to the streets is stuff that I was looking at.
So it would depend on what access point you're at. Right now, thankfully, the one that we have, they shut down the access points by certain times. So it's not like you're packed in like sardines. You have a little bit of space to move. Unless you're all the way in the front, that's a little different. But when I first came in, I was able to sit on the trash receptacle right behind the actual scaffolding. So, like, I had a good spot. I had to get down for a second. They were hating on me, Marky Mark, but it's okay. We're still here. We're still able to move and do our thing. So, thankfully, we can get our footage and then leave at a timely manner, hopefully.
Kelly, I think, okay, from where you're positioned, and I know where you are, I mean, you're not where the parade starts. It's going to be a while before it gets to you.
Yeah, we're about 3/4 the way through. City Hall is right like 10 minutes away, so we're still going to have to wait, I would say, a good 45 minutes, if that, for them to pull up on our side. So, but it's all good. Everybody's here. It's high energy. A lot of love out here. We had a couple instances of individuals fainting, but everybody worked as a family. They got the stuff they needed. NYPD's here. Everybody's really, really good so far.
Did they faint because they saw you, or was it? I mean, what was it?
There's some individuals. You know how it is, Marky. Mark, you want to enjoy yourself before you actually get into the spot, and you may go a little overboard. Okay, get a little overboard when you get with everybody else shoulder to shoulder. And
Kelly, are businesses closed? I mean, what's it like? Because on a typical Thursday, particularly where you are, I mean, it's a hustle and bustle right there. So what is it like? Have businesses closed? Are they still open? Is like a Starbucks still open?
So most of the places are opening up afterwards. So I'm right in front of the Gap Factory. The lights are on, but nobody's home, obviously. You have some wine liquor stores around here that are closed up. But if you go like down the block, Subway's open, like all these different spots off the avenue. But if you're on Broadway, everything's completely shut down. Unless you work in one of these corporate buildings, there's individuals on the first floors literally having their VIP seating as a viewing party for this. So that's beautiful. I wish I knew someone in those buildings.
Kelly, much was made about, obviously, the size of the crowd, at least at the moment. Does it look like they have planned for this, or is this even larger than they thought, and there is a concern about crowd size?
Yeah, so initially when all those news came out about exactly how many New York police officers are going to be out here, over 10,000 deployed here. Most New Yorkers understood what sort of view this was. So it was definitely, they were prepared for it. They're ready for it. I don't think from our side so far, things have gone out of control just yet. So I think all of the things that they put in place are great, and everything's working good so far. Now, mind you, I haven't been able to go on social media because it's so packed out here, so I can just speak from my perspective, but it's been really good so far.
What are you wearing? Do you have like a Knicks shirt, and is it like the random guy wearing a Red Sox jersey?
Yeah, man. So I wearing like a Knicks championship jersey, like the actual hats are going to be wearing on the float. I was able to secure one of those at Madison Square Garden yesterday. Got a Knicks, championship shirt on. Everybody else is Knicks out. You see a couple of New York Yankees out there, but no one would dare wear any sort of Boston things or San Antonio things. Are you crazy?
So,
One inside a riot, Marky Mark?
So when did you get in? And I think you just said you were at the Garden yesterday. When did you get in and kind of give me a vibe of the city before today, what it's like?
Yeah, so it's one of those things. It was a last-minute trip. I literally found out 12:45 yesterday a.m. that I would have the opportunity to come in. So eventually was able to get out here around like 1 or 2 and literally straight from the airport went to Madison Square Garden. Bought a couple things, just caught the feel of the city and made a little plan. And here we are. We've made it. And once again, just waiting with all these other millions upon millions of Knicks fans, Marky Mark.
Chris wants to know, have you seen Fat Joe yet?
Fat Joe, but he's going to be on the float, one of the floats. So Fat Joe going to be in the building. I'm not sure if he's going to have his towel, though, Mark. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to double check.
Well, I understand Alicia Keys is going to perform. I don't know if Jay-Z is going to be there. And do you know, is Wu-Tang coming back?
Wu-Tang's going to be on the float with Fat Joe. So they're going to do like a whole hip-hop float. Mary J. Blige is going to be on the float as well. I think Mariska Hargitay is going to be on Jalen Brunson's boat afloat. Mikal Bridges is going to be able to bring his. Oh, try to blank out a word right there. I think Mikal Bridges is bringing his dog, so it's going to be a good time, man. It's going to be a good time, Mark.
All right, it is 9:07. The parade is supposed to start at 10 if it starts on time. Kelly is in the middle of all of it. I won't keep you longer because I'm sure it's crammed there right now. Stay safe, have a good time, and send some pictures later, brother, okay?
I appreciate it, y'all. We will be safe. We're in the building, though, man. Appreciate y'all. We'll holler at you next time.
There you go. All right, there's Kelly Valdez, right off of Broadway.
Good for him.
Where he's at, it's kind of like, let me try to relate. You go to Disney. You're like, all right, the parade's at whatever, 9 o'clock. And you realize, where you are, it's 9:45. Okay? Like the parade doesn't start, and they're right there on Main Street. If they're coming from. So where he's at, and there's no chance it starts on time. Right? There's no chance. So where he's at, it ain't gonna be 10 o'clock where he's at. It's gonna be closer to
10:30.
I don't know how fast these things go, man. I mean, you've seen some of these championship celebrations where the cars, the parades, the buses, they stop. All of a sudden stops and somebody runs out and they're celebrating and so forth. So I mean, he might be another good hour before it even gets near him.
I'm trying to think of how I can word this. Is this championship parade like one of the, greatest moments in New York sports history? The Knicks winning an NBA Finals and ending their 53-year drought. Like I'm trying to think I'm trying to think of how to word it.
Yeah,
that's not the right wording.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since the city of New York's had a championship.
Like, all right,
and the fact it's the Knicks who have such a broad appeal. Yeah.
Does the Knicks championship mean more to New York, or the Eagles' first Super Bowl mean more to Philly?
It's a little bit unfair comparison. I mean, each is unique in their own way. Like when the Red Sox finally won and the Cubs won, each is unique. It's just, the of all the sports teams in New York, and the Yankees have the history, obviously, but of all the teams in New York, the one that probably has the largest percentage of sports fans that follow that team, it's New York. Nobody cares about the Nets. Nobody. Nobody. The Mets, there's a fan base for the Mets that divides the baseball fan base, even though the Yankees are the dominant team. The Giants have more fans than the Jets, okay? But
Rangers more than the Islanders?
Like if I said, 100 baseball fans in New York, and I mean I'm making this up, 65, 70% are Yankee fans.
I can see that.
Football, Giants, Jets, same deal. Basketball, 99%. 99%. I mean, it's got more fans of that particular sport. And because it's been so long, yeah. So I just hope it's a nice, peaceful parade, and I'm sure there are going to be a lot of interesting sights and sounds. So,
Yeah.
there you
Nice,
go.
nice and peaceful, right?
Well,
Just make sure there's no school buses.
no incidents or things like that. Okay,
Again,
let's
make sure there's no
let's
school
just-
buses.
Yeah, let's just hope for that. Let's squeeze in a few headlines here in this bridge. That was good to connect with Kelly. He was so nervous about, like, I don't know, man. Cell service. Kelly, it'd be fine. It worked out good, right? It was fine. World Cup yesterday. 94th, about to be 95th minute. Ghana and Panama are scoreless. Pick it up.
Nearly 4 minutes gone in stoppage time. Off a bump. Semenyo knocks it forward. Long run there. Promises how they got free. He's in the box. Let's have their cross. Can't hit a goal. Yeah,
Ghana beats Panama 1-0 with a goal in what became the 95th minute. Harry Kane, in the record books for most goals in a World Cup for England, had a couple, had the brace early. Here's the second one.
and a crashing header. There it is again. There he is again. Harry Kane. England back in front. Double digits in his World Cup career.
4-2, and that was a phenomenal first half between those two, and then England wins it 4-2 to get the victory there. Chris says he made it for the first goal of Colombia and Uzbekistan,
Hey, that's all I needed to see.
which means when it was 1-1, he missed this.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Now Prata for Colombia. And surely.
I can't tell you how bad that call was.
Mhm.
Not because she's a woman. Nothing to do with it. Let's pick it up again here.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Now Prata for Colombia. And surely.
It was a terrible attempt for a save. He kicks the ball lower left. The goalie bends down with his hand. It was a terrible attempt for a save. It was a goal. It should have been stopped. A terrible attempt. But Colombia wins.
3-1.
And the Vasquez house is very happy.
Yes.
They win 3-1. Portugal and Congo. 1-1 draw. Cristiano Ronaldo, no shots on goal. Ooh,
You're Portugal. You can't let that happen.
no.
Can't let
No.
that happen.
No. This happened this morning at Shinnecock on Long Island for the U.S. Open.
To the 10th hole, second shot for the big rig, Harry Higgs.
Downwind shot to a very elevated green. Oh, wow. That is not going to stop. And this ball, he may have 40, 50 yards left for his third when you see where this one rolls out to.
Didn't take long for our welcome to Shinnecock moment.
So he hits the approach, Chris, about 3 feet from the cup. It ends up being 78 yards away as it rolls off the. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just telling you right now, if you and I are playing around the golf like that, I'm putting the ball back up there 3 feet away from the cup. So, and by the way, they've delayed it because of fog right now. So that clip, okay, is posted on Twitter by the U.S. Open's Twitter account. Yeah, not like some.
How do they caption it?
Well, they took the quote there. It didn't take long for our first welcome to Shinnecock moment. It's their Twitter account. Like, hey, this is what you're in for today. Their own account put that out there.
It's a little bit of a troll job.
It is.
That's a little bit of a troll job.
It is. Round one delayed by fog right now on Long Island. All right, come back. We'll do some fun facts on this abbreviated bridge next. Wait a minute. We get the clean version there?
This was that jam when it came out.
Fat Joe.
Can't stop Fat Joe.
You can't. Let's do some fun facts here. Speaking of the Knicks, James Dolan, their owner, sitting back in a chair during an interview on WFAN, kind of hunched over, is asked about bringing everybody back, and can the Knicks afford it? How much is he willing to spend?
Whole
James?
team, right? Exactly as it is. I think why wouldn't you, right? But I don't know if we're going to be able to.
Just contractually.
Just contractually.
And some guys are going to get bigger paydays, and good for them.
Right. I mean, we're willing to stretch, right? But there's certain things in the NBA that you have to be, suicidal to do, and we're not going to do those.
Big question is about Mitchell Robinson, and if you give Mitchell Robinson a big contract, the Knicks would be pressing that second apron, and that's going to be interesting.
I got to ask you, how many players do you think would take the Jalen Brunson approach? Jalen Brunson giving up the $113 million to be able to keep players or bring players in. Do you think guys would maybe follow the leader here?
You're not talking about Robinson. You're just talking about other players.
Just in players in general.
No one.
No one? You see what the leader of the team did, giving up over $100 million. You don't want to try and run it back?
Well, a couple of things here, and obviously Jalen Brunson is a New York hero for life. Jalen Brunson, when he was a free agent, was viewed as an attractive player, but he wasn't viewed as a franchise-changing player. Any player that has a chance to get a max deal is going to take a max deal. The union didn't like what Brunson did, and by the way, depending on who you ask in the league, they don't believe that Jalen Brunson didn't get paid under the table by James Dolan somewhere. I don't know that, but there's a lot of people that kind of speculate that, which is why guys like James Dolan don't come out on Steve Ballmer for Kawhi Leonard. Okay, it's why owners protect owners. But the Knicks' biggest one is Mitchell Robinson. I mean, as much as I liked Landry Shamet's run in the playoffs, he's not coming back. They can't afford to sign him to a deal. But I don't think the Knicks can afford to lose Mitchell Robinson. Last night, Georgia and Oklahoma played in the College World Series. Early in the day, North Carolina beat West Virginia 12-7 to win their side of the bracket. They're in the championship series starting Saturday. Oklahoma needed to beat Georgia last night to do that. They did, 11-4. In the ninth inning, when it was 11-3, and Oklahoma was looking for 3 outs in the game, Colby Branch came to bat for Georgia. His brother Kyle, by the way, plays second base for Oklahoma. It's kind of cool. His parents are in the stands, and you can just imagine how proud they are to spend the days they did with 2 sons playing in the College World Series, now playing against each other. I mean, the bracket could have had them on different sides. They're playing against each other. And Colby Branch is coming to bat for the final time in his collegiate career. It's 11-3. The season's going to end. His college career is going to end. His parents are in the stands. Mom has her phone up taping it. Both of them have tears falling down their eyes, and then this happens.
Watching Colby's last college at bat. Did he do it? This one is deep to left. Leave for the homer. There you go. Tears in the eyes one more time. Colby exits stage left.
Gave me goosebumps.
How cool is that?
Awesome.
As he comes around first to second base, he and his brother high-five each other, and they found each other after the game. And come on.
That's awesome.
Come on. Huh? You get it grounded out, get it popped out. He homers in his last collegiate at bat. He'll stay and watch his brother play in the championship around Oklahoma and North Carolina begin a best-of-3 series on Saturday.
Goosebumps.
Huh? Come
Goosebumps.
on, come on, man. That's pretty cool, right there. Oklahoma had a good season. They just got hot at the right time. I think I may be off by 1 or 2 here. In the first 48 games, or first 47 games, they hit 48 home runs. No, which is not a lot in college baseball.
Okay.
In the last 20 games, they have 51 home runs.
I see. I see.
So either A, we started eating our Wheaties a lot more, bat check went a little bit different, or whatever. Yeah. How about that? Trae Young is declining his option of $48.97 million to become a unrestricted free agent. He ain't taking a Brunson pay cut.
No.
But I'll be curious what the market is for him.
I don't know what it would be.
Wizards are happy. They made the deal, but they freed up cap space of a player they didn't really want.
Yep.
Anthony Davis is the next one that they want to get rid of. And Sean Sweeney's press conference for the Magic is set for 1 o'clock today. News trickling out about some of the assistants that he's bringing to the staff. Let me just say, if you're overreacting on a social media platform about the assistants that he's hiring, just take a breath, okay? Just, guy's putting his staff together. Of course he's going to hire people he has connections to and so forth. Not that there's anything wrong with anybody that he's bringing in. Unless you're a hardcore G League fan, you don't know much about these guys, so trust him that he's bringing in a good staff. And for those that are waiting for a veteran assistant, he's not done. Okay, there's like 3 names that have trickled out. Let the guy hire his staff. Let him have a press conference.
That's what we're doing now, is freaking out about assistants.
Some people are like, I don't know, these are, all these young guys. I'm like, he's not done with his staff. Just let the guy do his press conference and fill out his staff, okay? Steve Gelb is the Mets in-game reporter during their broadcast on SNY. So, you do sometimes the zany stuff, talk to the fan, do a crazy interview, hey, bat day and bobblehead. So the Mets are playing the Reds, and apparently Steve Gelb he's not a big fan of Skyline Chili. In Cincinnati, Skyline Chili's big.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently he did this before, and he's like, I don't like Skyline Chili. It's not good. So now they gave him the Skyline Chili dog.
Oh, boy.
And let's pick up and get his opinion on it.
I'm going to give it a shot.
Oh God! I got Rolaids if you need it.
If it's Suarez strikes out, go ahead, Steve.
A lot more
Take
than
a bite.
Oh,
As good as you remember it? Oh, can you see the pink? Can you see that? Oh my God. Guys, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'd rather have a vending machine burrito. I'm not kidding.
Steve.
A vending machine.
Oh my God.
The look on his face is like he's just been poisoned. He's like, it's the grossest thing in the world. And the point he's making about the hot dog, and if you love Skyline Chili and Skyline Chili dogs, good for you. And I admit my sample size is not very good because I've had the chili on top of the spaghetti. It's not my thing. I've had the chili dog once, not my thing either. He's complaining because one of the complaints is that they undercook their hot dogs. So it's like it's too pink. You'll cook a hot dog.
Yeah.
The inside maybe, but the outside layer, it almost looks like, did we cook this? And so that's what he's complaining about. Yeah. Vending machine burrito would be his choice over that.
That will give you the rumblies in your tummy.
You think? You think? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I was, I think the last Skyline Chili that I had, an old former media relations person for baseball was like, come on, let's get it. I'm like, I don't want it. It's like, and I watched him eat like 3 of those chili dogs. And I thought, you're going to be sick for a week.
Hope I'm not sharing the room with that guy.
No. But I do think he paid for it that night because, I think he ran to the bathroom many times during the game. Like, yeah.
You don't eat it. Oh, during the game.
Oh, I didn't eat the day of the game. I. But if you like it, good for you. Yeah. Wow. All right. Kelly's enjoying the parade up in New York. Good for him. He'll be out tomorrow as well. Sun Abbreviated Bridge brought to you by Advent Health. We're back to kick off the beat of sports for Thursday next.
What's good, locos? This is Angel from the Monsters in the Morning on Real Radio 104.1, and you're listening to the voice of UCF, Marc Daniels, and the Beat of Sports on FM 96.9 The Game. You want real sports talk? You got it right here.
Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Beat of Sports. Glad you're with us. I'm Marc Daniels. Chris Vasquez is over there. A little bit of an abbreviated bridge. Again, Kelly's in New York at the Nick Parade, which begins in about 20 minutes.
Should we say scheduled to begin?
He's in the middle of it. I just saw some of the social media posting by the NYPD begging people to either A, stop coming, and remind people if you leave an area that you're allowed to stay in, you won't be allowed back.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, wow. Anyway, Magic introduced Sean Sweeney, press conference at 1 o'clock today. As his era begins, and he begins to fill out his staff. So that'll be this afternoon for the Magic. Can I say happy anniversary to my lovely bride?
Absolutely.
Today, 32 years.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, 32 years.
Wow.
Yeah. She did the old, we're not going to get each other gifts and so forth, and of course I did. I mean, any woman that says that. So, I think, I probably get my wife flowers 40 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get her roses yesterday. So she's got that. And then got her gift and had it. We have a 2-story house. And when she came downstairs, right there in our foyer, she saw her gift.
Oh.
Yeah. With 5 different cards on it. It says, Happy anniversary to you! !
Was the exclamation point on its own card?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. You didn't separate anniversary, did you? Anniversary is on one card?
Happy anniversary to you! ! 5
nice.
cards. Yeah.
Very nice.
So, and then she came down, like, oh my God. Yeah.
Is each card like 5 different married couples?
No. What? I'll tell you about 2 of the cards. Okay. I'll tell you about 2 of the cards. One card is from our daughters, but they didn't buy it. I picked it out. In fact, I said from our, I wrote our daughter's name. They go, they didn't buy this card. And the other one, you can buy like a plain card that is like nothing inside. Yeah. I said, I have no words to describe you. Yeah. So no, I couldn't find a card that had another couple on it.
Really?
Very disappointed. Yeah. Couldn't find it.
Wow.
Yeah. So 32 years ago today, we were married, which was part of that famous summer of 1994. There's a 30 for 30 documentary. The OJ chase was yesterday, which is when we had a rehearsal dinner. The World Cup is going on in the U.S. The last time the World Cup was here. There were matches going on in Orlando. And the Knicks were in the finals and all that. It was a crazy summer for sports and everything. So it was a gorgeous but hot Saturday, and we got married early evening and had a wonderful event, and it was great. And off we went. And I've told the story before. We honeymooned in Cancun.
Nice.
And flew from Orlando to Miami. And at the gate in Miami, this guy went up to the counter and said, you got anything available in first class? And they said, yeah, we can upgrade you for this. And I go, our seats are good, honey. We're checked in. We're good. We're all right. Yeah, no, it's fine. I just want to make sure they had us checked in. How much was that? Yeah, we're good. Nothing wrong where we're sitting. Nothing but the best for you, babe. You need more water? Yeah. But then, Chris, that's a true story. I did not pay for the upgrade there. But then did get to our hotel. What do you guys got for that suite above there? How much? What? No. Did upgrade that, though. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. That's right, honey. Nothing but the best. No, we're here just one night, not 4. Yeah, we got to get after the.
Got to be out by 11.
No. It was great, and then I want to play something. Okay. Yeah, I did that again. I'm sorry. I've told the story. 4 days later, this happened. That highlight.
Caligiuri desperate to get up on the outside. Marks on for a goal. What a tragedy for the Colombian defense. Escobar, a goal.
Andres Escobar, the Colombian national team, on a cross by the U.S. in front of 93,000 people at the Rose Bowl, where the Americans had a draw with I'm pretty sure it was Switzerland in their first match. Colombia went in as one of the expected contenders, lost their opening round match, and tremendous pressure on a team that, and I'm getting a little bit off subject here, but Pablo Escobar is killed months earlier. I think it was in December. And the Colombian government used their national soccer team kind of as a way of saying we're moving past the cartel era, that's no longer part of it. The cartel is very, very much still in existence. And the Colombian national team, they came to the U.S. months before the World Cup. They played a bunch of matches. It was almost a way of saying, hey, this is who we are, and to celebrate it. And they put a ton of money into that team, initially funded by Pablo Escobar. And Andres Escobar, no relation, gives up that own goal. The Americans then scored to take a 2-0 lead early second half and win 2-1. And before the U.S. plays their next match in the World Cup, Andres Escobar is shot and killed back in Colombia. And even though to this day, there's not a direct connection, many people believe that the cartel, because of the gambling that they were involved in, of how much money they were wagering on the Colombian team to win, and he's tragically killed. The other part of that, I've told this story, was, and that morning, we're going out to enjoy, a day out and about and everything. And that's when she goes, why don't you bet on the Americans? Honey, the Americans aren't beating Colombia in the World Cup. And went and placed the bet. Came back and totally forgot about it. Going upstairs, change and everything, go to dinner. And so I said, well, let me go over and see what happens. And looked up and go, what? 2-1, the U.S. won, and the bet paid for the honeymoon.
Honey, we got a second night in this suite.
Get yourself an extra appetizer tonight at dinner. Yeah. Don't worry about it. You want more chips and dip? We can get it. Bring it over here. Get that guac. Yeah. No, and I told you the story that the sportsbook security wouldn't pay me out because they said that I would likely be robbed because of how they positioned people. And so they took me to the back and said, it's your ticket. Leave it here. Here's your money. And recommended that I take as much as I want and I can leave as much as I want there. It was a few $1,000s. I wasn't walking out there like 500. It was, 4,300. And I took, I think, $800 with me, left it there. And the night before we checked out, they gave me my money. Paid for the honeymoon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man. Crazy world we live in.
It is. So 32 years ago. Yeah. How much for first class? We're good, babe. Checked in. They got us. Our names are right there. We're fine.
How crazy would it be if we see Colombia in this World Cup score an own goal?
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. And Colombian soccer has, this is kind of an important World Cup because they've invested a lot in this team. And it's a team that can, I think it's a team that could get to the quarters. I don't know how much further they could go, but
James Rodriguez.
Chris just picking a name that he saw yesterday, going to ride that as long as he can.
Luis Diaz.
There you
or
go.
Lucio.
Attaboy.
Lucio.
Attaboy. Yeah. And he fell asleep after the first goal?
Yep.
Wife and daughter didn't make it, did they?
No.
Yeah.
My wife passed out, I think, 10 minutes before the match started.
All right. Let's see. Cam Miller's going to talk football with us for his Thursday visit. We got a whole bunch of things to get to in the program. When we come back, I don't get it, man. I don't. And now more than ever, you got to take care of your fans. And maybe I'm jealous because we're not going to get it. I'll explain that and more. But first, everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? 1Forrest1.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great. Finally remembered my mug. I always forget it, but I remembered it today.
Okay.
Mark, are you ready?
Yep.
Why do horses have such a low divorce rate?
I don't know, Chris. Why do horses have such a low divorce rate?
They're in stable relationships. Or stable. Or stable.
That's not bad. I'll be honest. That one's not bad. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Never fear. Marc Daniels is here. Welcome back to the Beat of Sports.
10 o'clock hour, WYJ, Orlando, WJRR, HD2, Cocoa Beach. You can access this show, FM 96.9, 740 on the AM dial, on the iHeart app anywhere in the world. Just access 96 in the game, make it a preset button. You can also listen to this show in podcast form. Type in the Beat of Sports on demand where you get your podcasts. Subscribe, get it downloaded, listen when it's convenient for you, and watch the live video stream up right now on our YouTube page, 96 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo and the live button. Access that stream also at 96.9 Game On. I want to do a couple of quick things in college football. Chris, I mentioned this briefly when Matt Michelle was on with us a couple of days ago. Florida State made the decision years ago to spend a lot of money to upgrade its stadium and facilities. They did it at a time that, if you ask them now, maybe they either A, wouldn't have done it, or B, maybe not have spent as much, but they did. There's some debt involved there. The point was, as we moved into the pay-for-play era, okay, now you still got to pay players and pay them even more, and you've got to pay for that stadium. Okay? And now, Chris, we're asking fans from the 7-figure donor, the 6-figure donor, the 5-figure donor, and the hardworking fan that makes decisions, for example, from Orlando, Florida, to drive to Tallahassee, which is not easy once you go left on I-10, and it's a commitment for anybody to do that. I've said this as long as I've lived in this state. If you live in Orlando, you go to Gainesville, not that hard of a drive. You go to Tallahassee, you're committing to go and support your team, okay? That's not around the corner, okay? And what do you want? You want a product that you believe has a chance to win. You also pay what has been an increased amount of money for your ticket, your parking, your donor level, your don't you want to give to help pay for our players, like everybody in the country. That hasn't gone down, it's gone up, right? And when you play in a league, and it's reality, I don't care how you want to slice it, when you play in a league that sometimes in years, your home schedule ain't exactly must-see TV. It's not. It's not. Then you hope you can once in a while deliver marquee games. Well, what happened recently with Florida State and Georgia? Right? Well, now we're going to play 9 conference games. Each of us has a non-conference game against a Power 4 team. Florida State, Florida, Georgia, Georgia Tech. So that became the reason why they abandoned the home and home. And Chris, as you know, one of those games in Athens, and where? At Doak Campbell. Then they said, well, we're going to cancel that, and then we're going to play a neutral site game. Yep, I would love all these neutral site games to come to Orlando. Okay, Tampa was in the mix as well. Irish FL of On 3 reported yesterday that the two teams have agreed to play in Nashville in 2028. In Nashville. They opened their new stadium in February of 27. And the two teams apparently going to play in 2028. If the game's in Orlando, it's a shorter drive, even if you live in Tallahassee. If it's in Tampa, it's a shorter drive. If you live in Jacksonville, it's still a shorter drive. Nashville? You can't ask your fans to not just raise the ticket price a little bit and accept it, but to raise the ticket price and the parking and the donor level and everything else, man. And then say, remember that home and home we had with Georgia? Yeah, we're just going to go to Nashville and play one game. But can you please give us more money? It's tough. Listen, I've said this, and I've heard it from people at UCF. And Chris, I think it's a little bit different because UCF went from just 4 years ago, went from, hey, we got 2 Power 4 games in the schedule. Okay, now it's 11. Okay, so it's a little bit different. Okay, but you would hope the home schedule is appealing enough because you're playing in a Power 4 league. But UCF's home schedule, non-conference, the next time a Power 4 team comes here is 29. We're at Pitt this year, at North Carolina for the return game next year, then at Northwestern in 28. In 29, Pitt comes here. In 30, Florida's scheduled to come here. We'll see. And then Northwestern comes here in 31. Now, again, they're going to sell you on, here's the Big 12 teams, and I still think UCF's in that phase where that's a big deal. Again, 4 years ago, having 2 Power 4 opponents is a big deal. Now there's 11. But I get it at Florida State, and I saw the reaction of a lot of fans yesterday. That's tough, man. That's hard. Hey, Alabama's great. Bama came here. They're going to Bama. Yeah, we can't do the home and home. Remember, everybody told us, no, play if you want to schedule. Don't we want more of these big non-conference games because that'll help your resume? Well, we added conference games now. So we're going to get less of these. Wouldn't you love to see Florida State and Georgia play at both home team stadiums?
Of course I would.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at Florida State's schedule right now. You know what their home schedule is? Open the season, New Mexico State, SMU, Central Arkansas, Virginia, Clemson, NC State, and Florida. That's the home schedule.
Right. So from a ticket value standpoint, it's Clemson in Florida, and that's hoping Clemson's Clemson. Yeah, it's tough, man. Like I just said, your family of 4, mom and dad are proud Seminole graduates and fans in Orlando, Florida. They look and say, hey, we're renewing our tickets. Admit it. You're not doing it because the wins right now. You're doing it because of your passion for your school, but that schedule's not knocking your socks off. And then you're like, oh, man, I can't wait for that. Oh, that Georgia game's gone. That's tough, man. It's tough. I get the frustration. I want to play the clip. Chris, I know you heard it yesterday, but I want to play this clip. Remember how the View by some, and I'm in this group, that said Texas Tech with the whole Brendan Sorsby deal, they talked too much. They just couldn't stop because they felt like they had to fight the PR battle and had to attack the media, had to attack the fans and everybody in other conferences, and they couldn't stop and so forth. Let me give you Brendan Sorsby's agent, Ron Slavin. By the way, it's Quinn Ewer's agent, too. Ron Slavin did an interview yesterday, and that advice about not talking? This may have been one to sit it out. Here's Slavin. Here's Slavin.
The people I feel worse for, besides Brendan, is Texas Tech. And I know they might have, I think where they messed up was they talked too much. But nobody knew any of this about Brendan. Nobody knew when he was in the portal this was happening. I mean, Brendan probably should have gone in the draft in January, right? If we would have known, but nobody knew. So the people at Tech have been great, very supportive. Joy McGuire.
Can I stop for a second? How did you not know? He was called into Cincinnati multiple times and questioned about his fantasy football betting and his attempt to open up accounts that he wasn't able to open up. You're the agent. You didn't know? And then you're telling me he went to Texas Tech and no one. So you didn't know your client's addiction? How well do you know your client? How well do you have an idea about what was going on with him?
I think is one of the best human beings on the planet. He's a lot of coaches are transactional. He is not. And they didn't do anything wrong here. If anybody should be questioned or be catching heat, it should be Cincinnati because they knew for 2 years and never said anything and didn't.
Did you?
That line right there, I heard it. I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious?
Like, if you knew, they knew for 2 years. Did you know? And if you did know, then
why was nothing done?
That you went out of your way to protect the money side of your deal with Sorsby. He goes on.
Do anything about it. So
yeah,
that's the part of the story that gets lost. And again, it's like this is a 22-year-old kid who doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. He's had 2 girlfriends his entire life. He's at church every Sunday.
I got it. He's only had 2 girlfriends and he goes to church on Sunday. The other stuff, Maybe sit this one out. Maybe just say, "Hey, right now we're not doing any interviews. I'm focused on my client." And by the way, they did file paperwork to ask the judge to withdraw the injunction that would make him ineligible again. That hasn't happened by the judge, but they did file the paperwork for that, and his pro day is set for July 10th.
You know, it amazes me that these guys, I'm assuming they, went to school, they worked hard to get to where they're at, that being, Sorsby's agent, the leaders at Texas Tech, Cody Campbell.
And by the way, your client's keeping the X number of millions that he got paid by Texas Tech. He's not giving it back.
That's probably why he's
so did you take your cut?
That's probably why he's taking the shot at Cincinnati and not Texas Tech.
Right.
But it amazes me that all these guys, they're supposed to be very smart, yet they are acting and being so stupid about this. It is sometimes silence is your best friend. Stop talking.
Yeah, this is one of those you just
Good
hey,
Lord.
I appreciate the contact to do an interview. Right now we're focusing on Brendan, make sure that he's in a good place. We got a pro day coming up, and we're just going to focus on that. But
we're just going to make every excuse for this kid.
Cincinnati, by the way, did release a statement yesterday saying, "Hey, we educate our athletes all the time." And by the way, their version is that he did meet with their people regarding fantasy football and was warned about accounts he was trying to open. Now, what else they knew, I don't know that, but they put out a statement yesterday like, "Hey, we got nothing to do with this."
The more that comes out, the more, if I'm an NFL team, I don't want to touch this kid.
Well, he's got a pro day. I don't know how many teams will be there. And
apparently all 32, there's supposed to be some form of representation from all 32.
I don't know if 32 teams are interested in drafting him, though. So we'll see. More football talk with Cam Elder coming up in about 25 minutes. Back more with the Beat of Sports next.
This is the Beat of Sports with Marc Daniels.
U.S. is back in action. World Cup tomorrow against Australia as today teams begin playing a second match in group play. Scott Calabrese has been the men's coach at UCF for a decade and is really good at what he does. And I enjoy when we get moments to catch up and talk of the sport. And he's kind of give us some time this morning. Welcome, Coach. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing fine. There's a lot of things I want to get to. Explain how a soon-to-be-year-old 39 Lionel Messi can be so good. And I'm kind of leading you into this because the ability of seeing things before they happen, I don't know if anyone's ever done it better than him. He's not as fast anymore. No one walks the pitch smartly as he does. So what did I watch when he had a hat trick the other night for someone about to turn 39?
Yeah, I think it's a mystery to normal humans like what pretty much everyone in the rest of the world. No, he is a unique and special talent. He is just so instinctive in the way that he plays, and he sees things that others just don't. I can't explain it at 39 for him to be completely dominant still. It's incredible.
We've watched it, and there's been some great moments, but, sometimes we get, and even Messi prior to 4 years ago, there was criticism of performance, but in the last couple of days, between his hat trick, Mbappe's 2 goals, Haaland's 2 goals, Harry Kane's 2, the best goal scorers have lived up to the hype in this first week, have they not?
Yeah, I think right now, if you look at the teams that are the most successful early on in the tournament, and it's not surprising, it's the ones with dominant nines, and others are able to compete and play at a certain level, and the game looks very even. And then you see a player like Haaland, Mbappe, Messi, those guys make the difference, and that's why those players are so sought after from clubs, and they determine a lot of how the game goes. No matter how the opponent tries to set up to defend, these guys still seem to be able to find a way to make the difference.
I saw you last Tuesday before the American match on Friday. You liked the U.S. chances. Why? And after their 4-1 win against Paraguay, what did you take out of that match?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised to see that level of performance from the U.S. Their front group is dynamic. They're kind of in their prime. They're playing at top levels across the world. And guys like Pulisic, I throw into the same category as the ones you mentioned. He's the guy that makes the difference. They're really, really dynamic and dangerous. And now they have a 9. And maybe he's not quite the same level as the 9s that we just talked about, but he's maybe that next level down. So you're going to get this. You can turn domination into results. And so I really like that attacking group. I really like the midfield group. I think there's depth in that group as well, because you saw Reina come on and make a difference, Berhalter come on and make a difference. And then I feel like Pochettino's built culture first, which I think is foundational for any like if you're talking a sports team, 100%, probably you throw that into every organization. Culture drives the behaviors and mentality of the group. So I think Poch has created an incredible culture within the group. And there's probably only maybe one fragility that somehow has to be overcome for us to make a deep run.
Scott Calabrese, the U.S. Of UCF men's coaches with us. We're talking about the World Cup. U.S. is back in action. What's been a fair criticism of U.S. soccer building up to this World Cup, whatever that may be, whether it was in development, how we picked the team, the U.S. soccer group? What's been a fair criticism, and what has been unfair as far as the view of some?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk right now about our youth development, and I think there's a lot we can improve there. I think the criticism is important because I think the criticism in that world, that's our future, right? It's our future. It's our future fans too, because not everybody's going to become an international player or a professional player. And there's a huge difference between our youth systems and the rest of the world. So I think the spotlight being on our youth systems and the environments we create for young players is fair. And it's based around right now a pay-to-play system. It's very expensive. I've traveled around the world and I've seen the Spanish version, I've seen the English version, I've seen the French version, and it's different, and it's able to produce probably more higher level players more often. And so I'd say that's a fair criticism, and I think it's important that we look at it because if we don't improve it, we're not going to improve our team in the future. I would say unfair criticism. I think there's been a lot of question marks around, and a lot of it's coming from pundits about the team and their maybe even their desire, their drive, the will to win, things like that. And I think that's the unfair criticism. And I think when Pochettino is going out and trying to understand the U.S. players and he's picking some experimental teams and things aren't going great, that's part of a process of building a national team. And now what really matters is now what happens in the World Cup. I think that's how he needs to be judged.
More surprising draw, Portugal and Congo or Cape Verde and Spain?
I'm going to go Cape Verde and Spain. Growing in my 20s, I played with a lot of Cape Verdean players. And I didn't really know about Cape Verde, and it was like an international team up in the Northeast. And so Cape Verde is it's a small island. And Spain is just so talented. And I would say if you said the valuation of every player on the Spain team, what they're compensated and what their value is in the market as footballers, and you compared that to Cape Verde, like Lamine Yamal is probably 10x the best player at Cape Verde. So that to me is incredible. The players on the field for Spain, but it's also really early in the tournament, and that's why that's why the World Cup's incredible to watch, because you see these underdogs and you even start to root for them a little bit. Kind of in your heart, you're like, wow, that would be incredible for that country.
I think, and you've traveled the world, and I've said this, and maybe the casual fan is understanding a little bit, at least during this tournament. The national team for most of these countries is the biggest thing they have, not just in sports sometimes. So when they see tens of thousands of fans pack a street and go into a stadium, to understand what that means. I've said this for years. The last underdog role in American sports is the men's national team. The women have won a World Cup.
Yeah.
And if that is to happen, then maybe we get a taste of that. But I think our fans are seeing what it means to these countries and their fans, because this is the biggest thing to them during this month. That to them is nothing else that compares.
I think it's so incredible to watch, a nation like Scotland and what they're doing. Like, they have taken over Boston.
They drank all the beer, coach.
They have sold out the entire city is out of beer. Like, they rented a boat, and apparently they've rented all the school buses so that they could all go. Like, this is a level of fandom. Like, because I've actually been to some international tournaments, I've been to European Cups. I've seen it, but you cannot explain it. And I think the best thing is when the U.S. Fans or anybody that has the opportunity to see how these fans celebrate and enjoy their national teams and the World Cup, and it's in such a positive way. it's just it is so fun to see, and so great that like you said, the person that's not exposed to it now gets a taste of it and can see what an incredible event the World Cup becomes for nations that qualify and they love it.
I got two final ones. I'll let you go. Is the hydration break going to become an everyday thing now? I get a sense that Fox is making a ton of money out of it, and I know it bothers traditionalists, but I smell 4 quarters here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about it because this is a somewhat controversial statement. Not controversial.
Yeah.
It is what it is, right? Advertising drives a lot of things, and the financials around having the hydration break are probably really interesting to those who are carrying those broadcasts. So my hope is that does not become something that happens in games that don't require it, right? Like here in Florida, 100%. I was out this morning training at about 8:30 in the morning, and it's like 90 degrees. And so yes, I think in those instances, a hydration break is a hydration break. So I hope it's not 4 quarters, Mark, but you never know. There's forces at work, and there's a lot of money at stake. So
let me end with this. MLS is going to do the transition to the calendar that the rest of the world has worked on in soccer of late summer and fall into spring. Your sport's going to do it. That's been a discussion in men's college soccer. I know you've been part of those discussions, and now you're going to get to play, I believe it's 18 games from your late August through Thanksgiving, then come back in February, and I think you can get up to 10 before a postseason. Just some thoughts on that, and was part of the discussion to get also in line with the calendar, because we've seen call-ups and players that are playing college soccer quickly can advance, whether it's in MLS or other international opportunities. So I'll give you the floor for that. Are you happy with it? I know it was discussed for several years.
I'm really excited about it. It's got one more hurdle to go, but I think there's a lot of support around it. And so, yes, we do want as a sport to align our season with the European season, the MLS, like you said. They've made the choice. I think it's a great choice to align their season with the European calendar. And I think there's so many reasons to do it. In our case, in college soccer, our condensed season is a real barrier to training and development. And so when we're able to take this really condensed season and stretch it out and put good recovery and then training where we can develop players, I think 2 things will happen. A, the level of college soccer will go significantly higher for both what we're doing with our current group, but then who we will be able to recruit, because that's also been a barrier. And I think we'll have an opportunity to recruit a higher level player, because a higher level player will want to play a 10-month season, not a 3-month season. So there's one vote that has to happen June 22nd, 23rd. If that vote is a yes, and we've gotten great support from Terry and our admin team around this, because the decisions are being made at a high administrative level. If that goes through, then I think you're going to see college soccer fit into the pyramid of development in a much better way. And it'll be kind of like a U23 team. And I think many players, American players, will benefit from this in particular, who are maybe going into an MLS next, the second team of an Orlando City or an Inter Miami, but they'll now have a opportunity to choose another development environment that is also at a really high level. And I think that's really exciting for me and for our staff. Like, that energizes us that we get to be able to work for 10 months at what we love.
Good stuff. Scott, thanks so much. I appreciate the time. I know you're busy. We'll catch up again soon.
All right, Mark. Thank you.
Scott Calabrese, really good guy. Really. I'm not nice. He's a really nice guy.
I have a huge gripe with this.
With him?
No.
What?
With the hydration breaks.
Oh.
Can we, for once, again, Can we for once care about the consumer, for once care about the fan? Because all it is just more ads, more ads, more ads. It's like
The well-being of the athlete, Chris.
yeah, I'm sure it is.
Oh, you mean the 750 million Fox is likely making on the hydration break?
Yeah.
But can I bark back?
Go ahead.
If I mean, 100 degrees versus 67 degrees, you can argue about if you need a hydration break. And I can't prove it to you now. But if it does push some dollars back into the sport, that will help MLS teams if they do this and others in growing the sport, providing more dollars and be able to keep players here. There is that other business side to it. The one that drives me crazy right now, and I'm not one of these people that says you have to stop the clock in soccer. I know why the clock doesn't stop, although I think 5 years from now we're going to view it differently. You can stop the clock on the hydration break. When the whistle blows, you can stop the clock. And then you can start the clock when the hydration break ends. I don't need to know, we're playing into the 53rd minute or 55th minute of the first half because we had 3 minutes of a hydration break. We can stop the clock there. But I understand your complaint about the fan. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I understand the money aspect of it. And life sometimes does come down to money. But I do think there's an eventual trickle down that can help develop the game.
Like certain things used to be ad free, and then it's just more and more that we got to pay. We always got to pay. Always.
Coming up, these paid ads. And then Cam Miller joins us next.
This segment is presented by Bowegan's Beer Company. Love data? Love analytics? Let's take a deeper dive into both as we talk to Cam Mellor.
What you know is very limited, and what you don't know is limitless.
The Chief Analytics and Data Officer at Pro Football Network. You can follow Cam on X or Twitter at Cam Mellor.
It's always football season. 11 weeks from today, UCF kicks it off. 10 weeks from the coming weekend. Week 0 takes place. Good morning, Cam Mellor. How are you? Probably, it's about to be single-digit weeks. You know that coming up here.
Yeah, and week 0 should be a national holiday, but we'll get there one day. I feel like,
man.
It's how great is it? It's football season, so we should all celebrate.
By the way, you know what I did this morning in preparing for the show?
Oh, I hope it's sim the season or do a mock draft or
redraft on your site.
Ooh.
I was doing the giant redraft. That was fun.
Those are a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun ranking the players that went into the system. It's amazing what you can look at when you look at a player and you look at the different factors that have led to their successes or failures in the NFL and whether it's their fault or not. It's been very fun, very eye-opening.
So something else that I looked at ProFootballNetwork.com, you had NFL offense impact. And, there's a model that you have, and I was just telling Chris, it kind of caught my attention. I went and looked, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting about teams, towards the top. And you had the Rams as the a top team in offensive impact. Middle of the group, and we look and go, boy, the Jags really developed last year, and maybe a breakout for Trevor Lawrence, 13-4. And yet they're middle of the pack with teams like the Steelers and the Dolphins and the Bucs not that far behind. So was Jacksonville's kind of breakout season not that great offensively last year?
Yeah, I think so. It feels like there was like a tale of two seasons. I feel like you said too. There was a little bit of a lull, but it does feel like they were carried a lot by maybe some happenstances or a couple of Devin Lloyd plays on defense. But you look at it and like where the Jacksonville specifically, the way that our offensive impact is calculated. It's yards per play is in there, and that was one of the things I believe they were bottom half. Conversion rate, they were right in the middle of the NFL, I believe 16th exactly as well. Did not quite, they were middle of the pack for most of like those important categories. So it feels like they were a player or two away from not necessarily being where they finished in most of their games, ultimately overall. But yeah, it feels like it was a very middling of the pack carried by a better defense, it felt like last year.
The Colts were fifth. Is that just weighted of Jones start at the beginning of the season more than anything?
Yeah, that if you want to talk about truly the tale of two halves, yeah, it was Daniel Jones and what he was able to produce and how they still wound up averaging, a higher top 10 yards per play, second, I believe, and points per drive as well for the Colts last year. So like they were still maximizing their efforts. It's just they were outdone by the tail end of the season and then injuries, unfortunately.
Chris wants me to point out that the Cowboys were sixth. That still got you 7-9-1, Chris, by the way.
Where were the Giants?
We didn't have high expectations last year. But wait. We had a C-, which even though Cam had it ranked 24th, I consider the whole group of C's. So if you do that, then as Cam knows, we were top 10 because C+ was 9th. So C+ C-, it's all the same. So 9-24.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's in. Listen, the Seahawks were in the C's as well. C+.
Yeah. See.
So let's face it.
Yeah.
See, a few games away from the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm going to ask you again, which is another week. So now we have a pro day for Sorsby on July the 10th. I don't know if all 32 teams are going to. I mean, you can tell me that today. There has to be some teams that will say no. So I'll ask the question again. Now that he's going to enter, did file the paperwork in court to have that injunction withdrawn so that he's then ineligible for the supplemental draft. But another week closer to that, where's Brendan Sorsby on your grade today?
Yeah, it's still, I don't know with how stacked. I think the cards are dealt against him at this point, proverbially, physically, mentally, wherever we are. It's how stacked the QB class is next year on paper as well. So it feels like I don't want to give up anything short of a day 3 pick if I'm a team that needs a quarterback at this point as well. It also feels like we've had enough time for these teams to come in and usher in this new era. We've got OTAs, we've got rookie mini camps, we've got all the things that are done so far, that if you're going into a season with a quarterback, you want to make sure that you sell yourself and sell your team on the fact that, yes, I believe in the quarterback we have as well. So to me, it's day 3, and it's not like one of those slam dunks where we know he's going to be a talented player and immediate starter. And so day 3 pick is all I'd be willing to give up, and it's probably as well as looking past the indiscretion. So it wouldn't surprise me if he actually wound up not getting selected as well.
As I reminded some people, you take Sorsby off the roster. It's still in the Big 12. It's still not just expensive. It's still the best roster talent-wise, and I'll let you kind of fill in now that you take Sorsby off the board. But Pollock, the corner, Bryce Pollock, Ben Roberts, the linebacker. I mean, they've got dudes there. So as you look towards next year draft-wise, there's still dudes on Texas Tech's roster, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's an incredible roster. And if you look at it, they paid for it, as you'd expect. But I mean, the defensive line as well. If this is a team that they produced, I don't know if there's quite the David Bailey type player or Lee Hunter type impact, but with Trey White coming from San Diego State, he has the chance to do so as well. Adam Trick broke our metrics last year at Miami of Ohio because he's sort of in between defensive tackle and defensive end. So seeing where he fits in on that defense. But then Bryce Pollock, one of the higher graded returning corners, flew under the radar, stopped being targeted because he's so good as well. But then ultimately, I think the offensive line. And so if you have a guy like Howard Sampson at left tackle anchoring this offensive line, it's an old offensive line, very experienced from the left side over. And so Will Hammond will be set up for success. So to me, yeah, it's a stacked roster. It's still in competition, but you need to stay healthy at that quarterback position, obviously, which has been their bugaboo for years now.
I don't know where he's going to be health-wise, but what was the profile on Will Hammond, who had moments before the injury, but what kind of guy can he be?
Yeah, I mean, there was like a gunslinging, but also highly athletic type of player. I was very surprised with how athletic he actually was, with sort of like the creation capacity, not quite on like that Bryce Young level. It just felt like he was making things happen crazily. But there's more athleticism than I thought. And so if he can stay healthy and then learn to maybe get rid of those proverbial YOLO balls, you only live once, I think that'll come with age and with more reps for him as well. I felt like he was forcing the ball too much. So take what the defense gives you. I think there's a lot to like with his ability. I mean, they wouldn't have brought him in when they did and paid what they did to get him in there and keep him there. So I do like the profile going forward. They just need to make sure that they sell him and sell the rest of the country on him.
I always joke sometimes that candidates for the Baseball Hall of Fame that suddenly are better candidates than they were the previous year without playing a single game is comical to me. But I'm sure in college football, has anybody had a good offseason since they last played a game that has increased their draft profile going into a new season?
Oh, it's so hard because it feels like that. No, they haven't. It's just maybe we've unlocked their potential. They're who they could be. We didn't quite watch enough of them last year. Maybe they flew under the radar or watching, and now we're banking on the skill sets. So I'll look at Charlie Becker, the receiver from Indiana. 34 catches last year and did the majority of it in the playoffs as well. So I think 16 catches for the first 12 games. I mean, this is a guy that, he hasn't played a game since the national championship game, but he's vaulted his draft stock into potentially a top 15 pick at wide receiver. And it's not because of anything he didn't do last year. It's because we didn't really see him enough to get the scouting profile until January. And I think that's really what you're looking at. No one does anything in the offseason to make themselves better for the NFL draft. It's just that we get around to seeing more of them.
I'm going to see him when UCF plays Oklahoma State this year. Drew Mestermaker comes from North Texas to follow his coach. I'm not saying that he can't be really good. Is there any question about now he steps up in competition?
There is. And I think that if you look at some of the things when he played better teams, it felt like, or better cornerback, maybe not better teams overall, because they still feel like they put up as many points as they wanted to. But when he played against some better cornerbacks or better secondary members, those are when the decisions and the I guess mistakes happened. And they're likely to happen when you have that uptick. And so I think there's going to be a few more mistakes, and it's just how he handles it. Can he cut down those interceptions? It was only 9 last year, I believe. Can he cut down that in the uptick in competition? I don't know if he can. So I think that what he needs to do is he needs to figure out, and again, what I said about Will Hammond, almost take what defenses give you and learn that a punt in the Big 12 is not nearly as bad as it might have felt like playing at North Texas last year. But there's a lot to like with him.
His work is on X or Twitter at Cam Miller. You can also go and have all sorts of fun things to do in this offseason at ProFootballNetwork.com. Please support the work that he and his team does. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks as always.
Why'd you laugh when C plus C minus is the same thing? Comparing the Giants' offensive rating. Here's the difference. You guys were trying to win last year. We
Oh,
knew
yeah.
we weren't going to win last year.
Yeah.
We ride the wave of momentum from this parade going on in New York. I mean,
When the Giants start out 0-4.
if you're Harbaugh, you just play the parade back, man. That's all you got to do. Cam Scattaboo averages 1.7 yards a carry and has 5 touchdowns, all from 1 yard out.
Yep.
And then runs his head into a wall and thinks it's Tuesday. Don't worry about it, man.
I'm not worried about the
Worry
Giants.
about your own team right
Yeah.
now. Worry about our team here.
I'm not worried about the Giants. Don't worry.
World Cup update coming up. All right, yesterday's matches in the World Cup. Chris fell asleep after Colombia scored their first goal. They did win last night, beating Uzbekistan 3-1. Our World Cup update brought to you by Fitter's Green Irish Pub. Ghana scored their goal in the 96th minute to beat Panama 1-0. Harry Kane scored twice. England beats Croatia 4-2. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't take a shot. Portugal and Congo tied at 1. Somewhat shocking considered how big of a favorite Portugal was in that match. World Cup action continues today. Now you get teams that play for the second time. Czechia and South Africa goes at noon. Switzerland and Bosnia-Herzegovina go at 3 o'clock. One of the hosts, Canada, is in action later tonight. They'll take on Qatar, and Mexico and South Korea. 9 o'clock tonight is the fourth and final match. Our World Cup coverage is brought to you by Fitter's Green Irish Pub.
Let's really do the news.
Yes. Now it is time to do the news.
But now it's time for the news.
11 o'clock hour, WY, Jim Orlando, WJR, HD2, Cocoa Beach. Breaking news, Tracy Morgan is on Jalen Brunson's float to the Knicks parade.
Why?
The chick from Law & Order that no one knows her name is also on a float. Yeah. Wow. And I think, I might be wrong, I think Ariel Hawk-Porty's running around with a fake Larry O'Brien trophy.
Who?
Trying to convince people he plays. But hey, he had a key block, okay, in game 4. Had a key
Is
block
that like
in game 4.
A gamer handle?
Magic introduced Sean Swinney as their new head coach today at 1 o'clock. He began, at least the reports about assistants he's bringing with him, and let the man fill out his staff, okay? He gets a right to do that. So Chris mentioned the legal process now has started for Brendan Sorsby to be ruled ineligible. His attorneys had to go to the court today and say, hey, Judge, remember we asked for that injunction. We're going to need you to take that back because we have to get him ineligible. In the filing, it says, plaintiff was informed by Texas Tech that notwithstanding the temporary injunction order, the university would not permit plaintiff to play for its football team. Why is that interesting? Because what his legal team is saying is, our guy got kicked off the team. What they're saying is, he was told by Texas Tech, we can't play you, because when the Big 12 filed a lawsuit against Texas Tech in the wake of the Attorney General of Texas blunder, what Texas Tech is saying is we had no choice because you could jeopardize our eligibility, so you no longer can play for us. But keep the money. College World Series final round is set. North Carolina beat West Virginia yesterday, as did Oklahoma beat Georgia. It'll be the Tar Heels and Sooners in a best-of-3 in Omaha beginning on Saturday. World Cup action yesterday. Mentioned in a World Cup report before. Colombia did win late last night. 4 matches today, as all clubs that played last Thursday will be in action today, including, I take it back. Clubs that played Thursday and a couple that played Friday. We're playing today. Mexico and South Korea play later tonight. Canada and Qatar will also play, or Qatar. U.S. plays Australia tomorrow in their match, which will take place in Seattle. Fog did delay the U.S. Open early this morning in Shinnecock Hills on Long Island. Sam Burns is out quickly with a couple of birdies. He's playing the back 9, and he's 2 under par through 4. A whole bunch of other golfers are 1 under, including Roy McIlroy after 4. The course is expected to be really, really tough today. Amateur Hamilton Coleman is +7 after 8 holes. A whole bunch of golfers to tee off later today. But the course, due to weather and wind today, is expected to be really, really tough on golfers. Let's see what else we had here for you. Home Run Derby, Chris, is changing.
Saw that.
Returning to a swing-based system for next month's event, Philadelphia, ditching the timed rounds that have been used in competition since 2014. Participants will get 20 swings in the first round, 15 in the final 2 rounds, with the caveat being that the final swing continues until it's no longer a home run.
I like that better.
You do?
I do.
Okay.
With the clock, you feel rushed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like it?
So I wouldn't say I'm out on Home Run Derby. It just doesn't matter to me anymore. It's kind of like a dunk contest. I mean, sheer power, how far you hit a ball and everything. I think it got confusing over the years about special balls and bonus points and all sorts of things. And a reminder, this year's Home Run Derby for the next few years is on Netflix. So you'll tune in that Monday night to ESPN and go, wait, and realize that Chris Berman, back, has been gone for a while doing that. But it'll go to Netflix this year.
Nothing. I got nothing.
Want to come by the house and watch at my place?
Okay. If you're inviting me, absolutely.
No, I just was asking you. I didn't say I was inviting you. I just asked, like, if, would you want? And that's a yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't invite you, though. Just curious.
Wow. You want me to come back and do the show tomorrow?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm more focused on the Yankees up 3.5 with all the injuries right now, but that's okay. That's all that matters.
Braves are slumping.
What's that?
My Braves are slumping.
You get injuries, man. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we got for you happening in the world of sports. History lesson in about 25 minutes. Chris, today's history lesson is interesting because I'm going to ask you to try to fathom it happening today in sports. It'll be one of those stories that you're like, they did what? Yeah, I don't think you could do that today. We'll get to that in about 25 minutes coming up on the Beat of Sports. At Gold Key Roofing, you matter.
He's the voice you trust for the teams you love. You're listening to Marc Daniels and the Beat of Sport.
Check in every so often with a good friend, Jason Siegel, President and CEO of the Great Orlando Sports Commission, who honored a bunch of folks last night. The annual Sporties took place, and he's here to chat about that and some other things. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
I'm fine. Last night, another Sporties and some of the top folks that help bring some of these great events and support our teams and do great work every day. I'll give you the floor. How were the Sporties last night?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's, for folks in our industry to come together, we had over 200 executives, every team represented, all the venues, all the sponsors and partners. It was just great to have everybody in the room together, and opportunity for us to celebrate each other as a community, and some great recognition for in some cases a lot of folks that are behind the scenes and may not get recognized or might not be familiar faces, or certainly with Terry Mahajer at UCF and Jared Dillon with Orlando City and a number of other top executives. They're the faces of those franchises, but it's just great that so many others can partake and be part of an ecosystem that's really, really robust. And it was a fun night for everybody. So
everybody fights for the dollar and to get a consumer. And I know that there are some heads that butt, but I've been around long enough. You do this every single day, so you have a better idea than me. But I do think in the end, most of our people that are, I think, fit as sports leaders, they actually do root for each other, which sometimes doesn't happen in some cities. And while, again, we all fight for a piece of the pie, I do think most of the time everybody gets along here, which I think helps.
It really does, and you're dead on, and you're spot on. There are markets where there are silos, and franchises do not get along. There's sometimes there's some history of cohabitating in the same venue, in the same arena, and they split off and wind up doing their own venues. You don't have the NBA team together with the NHL team, but in this market, everybody last night was side by side. Universal, Disney, Advent Health, Orlando Health, everybody's in the room together. And the teams, the executives on each of the teams, they really do truly root for each other. And, rising tide, right, lifts all boats. So I think that it's the secret to the success of how we go about doing our business here in Orlando.
You can get a rundown of all those that were honored last night. Go to greatorlandosports.com and see who were winners of the Sporties. Look, we didn't get games. It's okay. We get some things on the horizon, particularly on soccer. We've established ourselves as an international destination for matches, but I'm curious your thoughts. We're a week into the World Cup. What stands out to you?
I'll tell you, the individual performances by the obvious superstars of the game, global superstars, because you can see some of the ratings from some of these early games. So when you see a performance like Messi and Mbappe and others, Harry Kane, who was here in Orlando a week ago, playing for England in that pre-World Cup match, and then goes out and has 2 goals. Really exciting to see, the stars elevate their game in front of, an American, Canadian, and Mexican audience. Fabulous. And then, I'm loving watching all these stories about, we know that here in Orlando, it's organic to us to have international visitation on a regular basis, but to see what's happening with the Brits and Scottish and other, clubs and fans descending upon Boston and many of the other destinations, Dallas, and it's really fun to watch the social media threads and see how Europeans and others are taking to our culture here in America. It's pretty fun. I flew home from Boston. This is what's really neat, Mark, is I was in Boston Saturday and Sunday. Of course, the Scots win the night before. They take over Fenway Park. I'm flying back to Orlando. There's no matches in Orlando, Mark. But of the 150 people on my plane, 100 of them were wearing Scotland's uniform. So they were either in a kilt They were part of the Tartan Army. They had either their, orange or blue jerseys on, and they were stopping at Disney and Universal on their way because they're going to play in Miami, I think in either a week or 2 weeks. They're staying in the state of Florida for a couple of weeks to hang out and wait for the next. So we are definitely a layover, significant bump in economic impact, because so many folks are going to be coming through the state of Florida on this tour of the U.S. for the World Cup. It's pretty cool.
You've probably seen this many times. I can't imagine, because I saw somebody post this, and with FIFA, if anybody's noticed, these stadiums are called based on their city. It's Los Angeles Stadium, it's Miami Stadium, it's New York, New Jersey Stadium, and someone was showing the pic that in Kansas City, somebody or a group of people had to take tape and put over the sponsor name on every seat in that stadium. And I can't imagine, like, hey, Bill, you and Susan today get to do this for the next 10 hours.
We, believe me, when we were going through the bid process, people say, what in the world, like, what were you reading? The people are, we're telling them it's a 1,000-page RFP request for proposal, and the contracts with FIFA were very detailed. And this is called a clean stadium, and a clean stadium means no corporate partnerships, no corporate advertisements, except for the ones that FIFA brings to the table. I love what Levi's did in San Francisco. They covered up their Batwings logo, and they then took the image and made it their logo on all of their social media, and they're getting tens of millions of dollars in marketing from that brilliant, stroke of genius. Even though you can't see the name Levi's, the shape of their logo is trending. So it's great. I mean, everybody, will figure it out, but you're right. Cup holders, seat backs. I think the only logo that remains is the roof of Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's organic to the way it's the shape of how the roof opens. So that might be the only logo that remained unscathed.
I want to ask you, I think it was announced last week, but Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings going to call upon the task force to gather again for TDT money. The tourist development tax, business is good. Numbers are on a record pace. And he's going to put a committee together again because there's money to go. And until the state changes the law, as much as people like me even would like things to go towards an infrastructure that desperately needs it, that's not the state law right now. But give me your thoughts on what that means, opportunities for you to pursue more events, opportunities to continue to grow facilities that we have. It's a good time in Orange County right now.
I've said it the whole, through this whole process, the first investment took a couple of years to come to fruition. When we held this exercise, 22, 23, and 24, I was really excited about the outcome, where there was a significant investment into our venues. Of course, $226 million in Kia and $400 million to Camping World and 500 plus into the convention center, and the Roth Tower at UCF, and an incentive, a bump in the incentives, which has led to unprecedented opportunities for our community to bring the Jaguars to town. Steve and his team over at Citrus Sports did a great job, and I know they've got a bunch more opportunities on the table. The scope and the scale of the opportunities that we have in front of us at the Sports Commission, working whether it's in Olympic space or with the NCAA or many others, it changes the opportunities. I mean, the scope of possibilities for our community to start thinking about and dreaming about bringing events that we may not have been able to bring in the past, which goes towards, a couple of things. It goes for sure towards, the quality of life for the residents of our community to continue to get great entertainment here in this market. Is fantastic. I mean, of course, whether it's outdoors with concerts or it's, over at Kia centers with sporting events. I mean, that investment in infrastructure really opens up some new doors and keeps us incredibly competitive with other markets who are investing at $1 billion+ clips in multiple sports. So excited about this next round. What remains to be seen, who's going to come forward with those new asks. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited to get into the process, which begins on July 21st. And of course, as we start to think about Mayor Dennings and his legacy, these terrific opportunities that have presented themselves becomes part of that narrative as he will leave office this fall. And of course, always thinking about him. I know he's has a cancer diagnosis, and we're wishing him and thinking about him and praying for him as he goes through this stage and his care and treatment. But at the same time, I mean, Mayor Dennings has done, now 40 plus years of service for our community. So we'll go through this again and see where the chips fall.
Yeah, I'm not going to go down the path of city versus area fighting. One to the west of us is trying to figure out a lot of things, and the jealousy of a thought of a $400 million fiscal year of a church development tax. They would give so much for, but we'll save that for another day. Hockey, what'd you make of Carolina?
Yeah, I'm excited. We've got friends in the organization. I think, anytime a new, certainly they were the Hartford Whalers, so it's a relocated franchise. But for yet again, another Southeastern community to be hoisting the Stanley Cup, Tampa, goes on a great run. And of course, the Florida Panthers on a great run. And, I'm excited for, of course, Raleigh and that community. I mean, for the state, for all of the Carolinas who have, just immediately taken to the sport. It was pretty fun to watch and some great storylines. Tortorella we love and have known for a long time. And that would have been pretty neat if Vegas could have pulled it off too. But I love sports. I love all of it. It's fun to just watch all of this. And is there ever been a better, these 2 or 3 months, it's just every night you're up with the Knicks, or you're up watching, hockey, or you've got great tennis, great golf. It's just, it's a great time to be alive. And if you're a sports fan in the United States, man, it's just awesome.
If Ron Francis is the best player ever and center for the Hartford Whalers, better right winger, Kevin Dineen, Pat Verbeek, or Gordie Howe on the backside of the career?
Well, this is like a deep cut. I mean, you're really going into it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Dineen?
Dineen, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was going to say, Verbeek's pretty darn slow.
The only 2 people in Orlando that know those names right now, but that's okay. And then also, this is selfish for me. Either you watch or you'll see that parade in New York. You spent a lot of years in the area there. Can you explain what that is now to that city?
Yeah, so I worked for the Rangers and Knicks, mostly Rangers. I just happened to be in the Garden. So I was there with Neil Smith in the early 90s, right before the Rangers won the Cup. And of course, the energy and excitement around the Rangers winning in 94. But I do remember I was at the game, the Spike Lee, Reggie Miller game. And I never thought, even to this day, that feels like the energy and vibe of that game, I'm not sure has been matched in all of the different sporting events that I've been to since. And I got to believe that it was 10x the night that they came back from whatever it was, 29 points down. The city they are so passionate about their sports, but the Knicks are at just a different level. It's comparable. I would say Knicks and Yankees are probably right there neck and neck. But I mean, there's no doubt the city will close. Nobody is working. I can't even imagine the number of folks who will be out there on the parade route. It's, at the height of it all, Mark, there were 2 million people living in Manhattan and 15 million people working in Manhattan. So 13 million people were going back to Brooklyn, back to Staten Island, back to New Jersey, back to Pennsylvania. People were they were commuting from Allentown, Pennsylvania to work in Manhattan. You got to assume that the majority of those folks, if they're not Brooklyn Nets fans, they're Knicks fans. And I bet you there's 25 million people must be engaged in some form or fashion with what's going on today, because the rest of the population are Knicks fans.
Cut it out. No one's a Nets fan. Just stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. But here's the most
Come on, it
important
hurts my
question.
heart. We have history with the New Jersey Nets.
Last question.
Of those guys.
Okay.
Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin,
Yeah, great.
Harry Kittle.
Okay.
Come on, man.
Greatest Whaler goalie, Sean Burke, Al Smith, Mike Liut.
Mike Liut.
Yeah, okay.
Mike Liut. Mike Liut.
Once again,
Mike.
the
He's
only two
amazing.
people in a 100-mile radius that knows those three names right there.
Yeah, we love to Mike Liut. Sean Burke, I think, where's Sean? He was rumored to be Vegas's next head coach, but I think they're the AHL guy there in Vegas.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it, man.
You betcha. Thanks, Mark.
Jason Siegel, President and CEO, Great Orlando Sports Commission, and great Hartford Whaler players that no one knows. And no one's a Nets fan. History lesson next.
All right, boys and girls, take a seat and listen up as we take a trip down memory lane with Marc Daniels in this week's History Lesson.
Chris, I mentioned earlier, I want you to listen to today's history lesson and then try to imagine it happening today in the current landscape of sports.
All right.
There once was a time that individuals that were granted the power to be a commissioner truly were a commissioner for all parties, players, representing owners, and even fans. We're long past that, as commissioners today represent only one group of people. That really is owners. But there was a different time many years ago. In fact, we take you back 50 years ago to April of 1976. The Oakland A's were a baseball dynasty in the early 70s. And even though the free agency you know today simply did not exist then, the fear of what free agency could be was something owners had a problem with. Charles O. Finley was the very characteristic owner of the Oakland A's. He was different, he was weird, he was odd. In April of 1976, he began breaking up Oakland's dynastic team. He traded Reggie Jackson and pitcher Ken Holtzman to the Baltimore Orioles. But he wasn't done. A team that won championships in 1972, 73, and 74 simply were not going to be paid what the players thought they were worth with Finley, who was cheap, like most owners were back then. But he traded those players in April of 76 with Commissioner Bowie Kuhn thinking that was just baseball deals that were being made. Little did we know what was going to happen. On June 15th, 1976, it becomes one of the more interesting moments in baseball's history. That day, on the 15th of 1976, Charles Finley had an idea. He was going to, quote, trade, but actually sell players. Closer Raleigh Fingers and left fielder Joe Rudy were going to the Boston Red Sox for $1 million each. Vida Blue was going to be sold to the New York Yankees for $1.5 million. When word got out, it became a big story. See, the A's were playing the Boston Red Sox, who were in town and across the other way in the clubhouse. Raleigh Fingers, he walked across with Joe Rudy to the Boston clubhouse. Commissioner Bowie Kuhn got wind of the news, and he wasn't happy. It got odd because the players didn't know, are we going to play tonight or not play? Darrell Johnson, manager of the Boston Red Sox at the time, he walked around not knowing, do I play these guys or not? Word came that Finley was adamant that the deal was going to go through. Nobody heard anything from Major League Baseball. The Red Sox were making uniforms for the players just in case they'd be clear to play. Raleigh Fingers joked with members of the media, I'm worth $1 million. Joe Rudy wasn't so happy with the deal. He didn't really want to be traded. The Associated Press at 7:51 reported the deal. The A's first pitch was at 8:05. 14 minutes before meant those two guys were likely not going to play, and the manager decided to not play them. Bowie Kuhn was watching a ball game at Comiskey Park, where the White Sox used to play, between the Orioles and the White Sox. Got a phone call and told you got to get on the phone and hear what's happening. Well, the three players didn't play, and the A's didn't make any other roster moves. They had 22 players. Finley was adamant that we're going to play with 22. That didn't sit well in his dugout. Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner, was so upset, telling Finley, you're not going to withhold these guys from competition, and I'm not quite sure we're going to approve this deal. The next day, on the 16th, Bowie Kuhn got Major League Baseball's executive committee together, where they couldn't settle on whether to allow these deals to go through. The commissioner had a meeting with all parties involved, the A's, including Charles Finley and his attorney, the Red Sox, and the Yankees, and the Players Union leader, the famed Marvin Miller. It got testy. Finley was adamant that he was going to sell the players. Bowie Kuhn was adamant he wasn't sure it was in the best interest. When they got done, Kuhn took 24 hours. And on June 18th, he made the announcement that the deal had been voided in the best interest of baseball, a clause that had not been used since, well, the famed Black Sox that led to the first commissioner of Kennesaw Mountain Landis. It was the first time such power was used. Then things got interesting. Finley refused to let the three players back in the Oakland clubhouse, let alone put on an Oakland uniform. Kuhn tried to order him to do so. Finley said no. He turned around and sued Bowie Kuhn and said, Joe Rudy, Raleigh Fingers, and Vida Blue, they're not my property. They belong to the Red Sox and the Yankees. It didn't sit well in the A's clubhouse because Finley refused to add any other players in protest to what Major League Baseball did, and they carried a 22-man roster. Well, that began to strain the team that was short on a couple of pitchers and a starting outfielder. Finley said letting the three players play would hurt his lawsuit, so he ordered Chuck Tanner, then manager, to not play them. Tanner, he didn't sit well with that either. He told players and others it really was going to hurt the team's ability to succeed. By the way, Finley would later make a deal to trade Tanner to the Pirates, where he managed that team for several years. He held his ground, and Finley had an idea of saying, listen, if you deny this, you're going to impact Major League Baseball for years to come. The free agency battle had been brewing for years. Marvin Miller, the longtime head of the Players Association, fought Major League Baseball and said it's inevitable. You won't win in court. It won't hang up. But Finley saw what it was going to mean to him. He had a championship team, won 3 straight, but he wasn't going to pay them and was adamant that he wasn't going to pay the guys. As the 3 days turned into a week, it morphed into 10 days. The lineup card still was a struggle because the players were realizing missing 3 was going to be a problem. It got into the locker room and reached a point that Finley saw a baseball team that was going to protest, Chris, and forfeit a game. In protest of Finley, the players had a team meeting and said, we're not going to play an upcoming game against the Minnesota Twins. Finley said, fine, I'll bring up the AAA team from Tucson. His plan was to put them on a bus from Tucson, get them to Oakland, and he was going to use the AAA team and not let the players shut down a game. Even more problems. He eventually caved, made the roster change. The fans began to protest. A small crowd of 4,798 showed up. It set the tone for what became the end of the A's dynastic run. By the way, as that year ended, Joe Rudy, he left and signed with the Angels. Raleigh Fingers, he signed with the Padres. Sal Bando, the third baseman, he went to the Brewers. Bert Campaneris, the shortstop, he went to the Rangers. Joe Rudy did go to the Boston Red Sox. And guess what? Charles Finley's team was gone. All the key players had left. Finley tried to hire Billy Martin, which he did, to feel like he could turn the thing around. It didn't. The team began to see a significant drop in attendance. The team also saw fan revolt. The players had left. Finley had felt like, well, I'm not making any money. And it pretty much ended that dynastic run for the Oakland A's. But it was on this date in 1976 where, for the first time since that famed Black Sox scandal, when owners gave the commissioner that famed clause, what is in the best interest of the game? And Bowie Kuhn, on this date 50 years ago, voided the deals of an owner selling players to 2 teams. That clause has been used a couple times, but no more famous than the one 50 years ago today. We know what happened to free agency. It came, it changed the game. Finley was adamant that he was a visionary, that he saw what was on the horizon and teams would be losing players for nothing. We have different type of compensation today. But from the players striking, his stubbornness, his lawsuit against Bowie Kuhn, and in the end, the commissioner winning out. That was a different time when commissioners had power. Not the same today. They have some power. But that best interest of the game clause, it still exists. It's just not used because the commissioner represents owners, not players. But 50 years ago today was the famed day that Bowie Kuhn voided Charles Finley of selling 3 players. And the A's history took a turn on this day 50 years ago. That's the history lesson. Can you imagine that happening today?
I'm
One,
kind
you
of
can't sell players.
Well, I'm trying to think of what team would have its players boycott a coach and say, we're going on strike, or boycott the owner.
You see, as crazy as it is, I think actual discussions probably have happened until someone goes, we can't do that. Meaning, you guys are going to lose your paycheck and you make $1 million a game, you make $500. Yeah, bad idea. But I'm sure guys hate their coach, they're like, forget it. Let's just and
I feel like maybe like the Cincinnati Bengals come to mind with how cheap their owner is.
Got to remember, back then, the average major league salary may have been in the $43,000.
You think the Rays would have boycotted Stu Sternberg?
No, I guess they would have withheld your paycheck, man. But again, back then, you guys making $35,000 and needed an off-season job. We're back to put a wrap on the Thursday show next.
Friends.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Greg Oden is selling a THC drink.
Yep.
That's like really high in THC.
So I've never had a THC drink. I'm kind of intrigued.
Mm.
I know a lot of breweries are starting to sell them. They're typically about 5 milligrams of THC. Give you a nice little buzz. His are 100 milligrams of THC.
What?
So just kind of do that math.
Wow. That's it for us today. Miss any of the program, go where you get your favorite podcast. Type of the Vita Sports On Demand to access the entire show. Subscribe, get it downloaded. Listen when it's convenient for you. You can always catch the video stream back if you missed the show live. Go to our YouTube page, 96 on the Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. You can watch the stream back. Chris, have a good day today.
You as well, Mark.
We'll see you tomorrow for a Friday edition of the Vita Sports.